Hey, welcome to the Earn Your Title podcast. My name is Danny Dumas, and I've got my guest, Jordan Hopper. Today, I have a problem. My problem is when I grew up as a little kid, we didn't have social media. And now my kids have social media, and I want them to be safe. You obviously have kids. You have 4 kids, and do they have social media? They're too little.
So we'll talk about it. We've tried.
Gotcha. We've tried to have some, and out of my 3 kids, only 2 of them have, or only one of them has an Instagram account. One of them has Pinterest, which I feel like I don't really consider that social media, but It is. And I want to protect them. And I realized, and I don't know if you had this feeling when you had a baby. I remember Levi, my oldest. It's the second day in the hospital, and Andrea's sleeping, and I'm holding on to him. And I actually had my headphones in, which is unrelated, but I remember I'm like, he's never heard a song. And I was listening to John Mayer's Gravity. I'm like, this is a good first song. So I put the headphones by his ear, and that's the first song he heard. And then I got this feeling of, and it's weird. It was aggression is all I could figure. The only thing that popped in my head that I would do anything to protect this little kid. Like I could see me ripping the head off of somebody to protect this little baby. Like it hit me really hard. And I think that's hopefully a universal father thing.
Absolutely. Last summer, we were riding bikes on the Clinton River Trail, and there was a lady Brooklyn, my youngest, was learning how to ride a bike, and she didn't get out of the way, and she just ran over Brooklyn, assuming she would move. And I totally forgot I was a pastor in that moment. And I ran over, throwing her off there. What's your problem? My wife is over. Jordan, calm down. Like, no, that's my child.
Yeah. And I think it's built in. Like, I know my wife wants to take care of my kids. That's built into her. For me, I want to make sure my kids are taken care of. Absolutely. It's a difference. But I want to protect my kids. And I have taken some steps to do that. Like, I've got a loaded gun in my house. I had a CPL, so I could, when we went to the mall and I realized I can't run away with 5 people, I have to do something. And then I realized I don't have any tools, or I don't understand how social media works, the dangers of it. And that's what I want to, I need that. I want to protect my kids. And in reality, that protecting them from that is way more likely than I would ever need to pull out my pistol and do anything with it.
Absolutely.
Like that's realistically, statistically, that's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
It's just so small. But to have one of my kids solicited by a creep, that's probably going to happen.
Percentages,
it's
much
probably
greater.
has happened. I talked to a therapist a little while ago, and she had a girl who had inappropriate pictures sent to her on the Bible app.
Yeah.
The Bible app, because it has a messaging feature. So where do you see social media fitting in? And the reason I'm asking, I should say, is you're a youth pastor. You get confronted with what happens when this doesn't go good.
Yeah.
When it goes bad. But you're slightly, how old are you?
31.
So you're
I'm the heart of millennials.
Yeah, you're right in the middle. You're 12 years younger than me, and you got to grow up a little bit into this and see the whole. I had an account when I was as a teenager, and then moved on. And what were some of the pitfalls of that? So just share with me, like, where you see social media right now, some of the dangers. Yeah, what should I be worried about?
Yeah. So first of all, like, social media is not going away.
Yeah.
I started with Everyone's Connected. That was my first social media site, and then went to MySpace where we ranked our friendships.
It's important.
And then my sophomore year of high school, I got a Facebook.
Okay.
Right. And that's, unfortunately, that doesn't go, you can still see your memories from the things you posted when you were in high school, but it's not going away. And so there are a lot of concerns. A study, actually, I was looking up in March of 2023. So at the point of filming this a couple months ago, came out that depression, anxiety, loneliness, all are increased with social media use. And, it's funny. So I've got four kids, and we kind of tried out Kids Messenger. So Facebook has created this Kids Messenger where, as a parent, you can allow who they talk to and who they don't talk to. Well, it's very safe. So for sure who they're talking to, and mostly it would be their friends that they would message. Well, one day we go through and we monitor, and we saw that there was an account. It just said account user, and there was the person's name wasn't there. And so we were very curious. So we clicked on it, and we could see it was a past conversation the girls had with one of their friends.
Right.
And we said, hey, has this been doing this? And they said, oh yeah, we blocked them. I said, why? Why did you block them? Oh,
how old?
Good point. Yeah. So they're 9, 9. And
can't have this drama in my life.
Yeah. So that was honestly what it was. They said, at school today, they wouldn't let us play with them. And so we came home and we blocked them.
Wow.
And so it honestly spurred a conversation of like, okay, you aren't ready for this.
Right.
Because what happened at the playground, if you don't have this, what happens is you come home and you forget about it.
Yeah.
And then you go to school the next day and you play again.
Right.
Right? Because you're 9 and you don't retain and hold grudges.
Right.
But it got to the point where there was this group of about 5 girls. Unfortunately, 2 of them were mine. But where they were blocking and unblocking each other on Messenger because of things that were happening at school. And then, so my wife talked to all the moms and basically like, hey, let's, you guys work however. We know our kids aren't ready for this yet. All our daughters are friends. Like,
yeah,
they just aren't ready for it. Yeah. And go ahead.
I was like, 9, you would say they're not ready. When do you think they are? Because we struggled. So Levi turned 13, or when he turned 14. So last year, that's when we let him have Instagram. But my gut instinct was no. Let's just not do social media at all. And we talked to some counselors, and we, like, what is the right answer? And I think this was wise. It's like, this is how they communicate. You saying no means that they will be outside of the social circle, and you lose the ability to teach them how to use social media because they're going to do it as soon as they can. They're going to get it. And then they have never used it under supervision. So when do you think is the appropriate time? And like, do you have an order of like this, and this? Like, what do you think?
Yeah. So first of all, I think that's extremely wise. Like, I don't think we can just stick our heads in the sand.
Right.
I mean, it is a option that some parents use,
right,
and every parent is entitled to raise their kid as they seem fit. I think you have to be in the middle. Right. So I don't think you can just say, no, you're never getting social media. And on the flip, I don't think you can just say, well, here it is unrestricted.
Right.
I think you have to know your kid. I think for a lot of kids, it's probably going to be relatively close to the time that they get a phone.
Right.
That's when that's kind of becoming the way of communication. Personally, I don't see a big need for it before 6th or 7th grade.
Gotcha.
You're not really making plans on your own to go hang out with people at that point. Most of your friends aren't engaged yet at that point. And if you have a super mature student, that's fine.
Right.
I know for my wife and I, as far as getting a phone, we've said like, well, when they need it,
right,
not necessarily when they want it.
And that's something I think my generation struggles with. Why do they need a phone? Because there's no pay phones.
Yeah.
If they have basketball practice and they need you to pick them up early because the coach didn't show up, there's no way on their own. I'm sure someone else has a phone, but there's no way to like actually communicate. So they do need that now.
Absolutely.
Like it's a need, I would say.
Yeah. And so I think you got to know your kid. I would say somewhere in that preteen to early teenage years probably is when I would start having the conversation. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was that, before you start doing this, you have to do your research. And right, so to answer your question of, do you say, okay, well, you can have Facebook, then you can have Instagram. First of all, kids nowadays don't even want to be on Facebook.
Right. That's where the old people live.
Exactly. That's your grandmother's playing Candy Crush, Farmville. Yes. Is Farmville even around still?
I don't know. I missed that boat. I missed the online, like, build a world.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is probably pretty strong.
Yeah. I never got into Farmville or.
I did play Clash of Titans,
okay,
Clash of Clans. And it was interesting, time killer. And then a friend of mine who's older than me actually said, he's like, hey, do you want to join our clan? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then he texted me one night at like 10 o'clock at night, hey, we're getting ready to raid something. It'd be really helpful if you could show up. Delete. Are you serious, dude? You want me to take away time from my family or just watching cat videos to go raid? Yeah. You were way more into it than I was. I realized you probably shouldn't be in that.
Tell the lieutenant, hey, can you take care of this fire? I'm raiding
I'm going to go raid this village.
Really
I can't
quick.
save your child from a burning building. Yeah.
Right.
So I had to get out.
So we're just going to go through some social medias really quick and kind of talk about them. So you got Facebook, right? Old people live there. Classic, add friend, pictures of, family reunions and all the wonderful stuff.
Good stuff.
You got Instagram, which is probably one of the more popular for the younger kids. It's got stories that you can put up. It's got posts you can like. It's got a messaging feature in it, and has reels that are becoming more and more popular.
Reels are like TikTok.
Yeah. Which is kind of short videos intended for social media, 60 seconds or less. Then you go to TikTok, right? TikTok is so interesting to me. I had to delete it. I'm just going to be honest. I don't have the self-control for it.
Gotcha. It's too addicting.
Yeah, absolutely. The algorithm they have, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but like it's incredible. I mean, I got on there and within 3 minutes, it knew exactly what I wanted to watch. And I wasn't watching whole videos. If I didn't like something, I skipped it.
Right.
And it knew within 5 minutes, and I was on there for an hour and a half.
Do you see that? Because I had TikTok. Levi wanted it. I'm like, well, let me see what it is.
Yeah.
And I got on. I'm like, man, this is one. It's not good for your attention span. I'm like, I could just see the benefit or the disadvantage of just, man, you could just get sucked in
10 seconds.
But what do you see? But then I realized when I see my reels, because I have Instagram, that's probably for me, Facebook and Instagram are where I'm at. But reels, a lot of times it has the TikTok banner, like they posted it there and then posted on reels. Do you see that as a difference, or is it pretty much the same?
No, I think it's pretty much the same thing. You know, I just think the algorithm that TikTok uses, whatever that is a little bit more refined.
Gotcha.
You know, I think it's easier to be a lot more addicting. Then you got Snapchat, which is very hot topic.
Yeah, explain that. Why? And I think I know why, but I'm curious to hear your.
So Snapchat, it's another social media app. You find your friends, add your friends, and then you take a picture. Or a lot of kids, I mean, they have streaks of how many days they've talked to somebody. They'll take a picture of the ground and
just to do something.
Yeah. And the big concern with Snapchat is after you send a picture, it's available for a specific short amount of time, and then it disappears.
Yeah. So I had a family member with that. I'm like, as a teenager, I am removed from being a teenager, but I remember the only reason you would want that is to send things that are bad.
Yeah.
Like I don't see any benefit to that going away other than just doing things you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Like why would you want your anything, your pictures, anything to go away other than it's bad?
Exactly.
Am I wrong? I mean,
no,
I'm sure not everyone's using it like that,
absolutely.
But that seems to be the big danger of that.
So I think that's probably where it gained a lot of its users. And then what happened from there is, I'm going, or Danny, you're on Snapchat. I want to talk to you. I'm going to get Snapchat so I can talk to you.
Right.
Because all of our friends are on it.
Right.
I think that's where it got to. But I definitely, and like as a parent, I would, and again, every parent's entitled to their own opinions. As a parent, I would have a really hard time allowing my child to have an app where specifically after you send something, it's gone.
Yeah. Now, do you know, is it actually gone?
So,
because that's the other thing. If you were sending something that's inappropriate because you think it's just going to go away, is it truly gone, or is there like?
So there's a couple things with Snapchat that are kind of unique. So first of all, if I was to send something to you, you can screenshot it.
Right.
Like there's no rule against it. Now it would tell me.
Gotcha.
That you screenshotted it, but now you have it.
Right.
The other thing that's really easy to do is if you have a Snapchat, right, and you open up something and I'm right next to you and we're friends, I can just get my phone and take a picture from my phone of what you just opened.
Right. And then nobody
knows. So, but to answer from a technology side, Snapchat claims that things will stay on their servers for 30 days and then they're erased permanently.
Gotcha.
So
if something was criminal, it could
would
still be, because I know there's been some of those issues where, high schoolers are sending, nudes of each other.
Yeah.
And they're in high school, but one of them's 18.
Yep.
And now he's got child pornography on his phone and literally like go to jail or go on probation.
Yeah.
Like it's not just because there's dangers from a mindset, from things you got exposed to that you shouldn't be. And then there's legit, like go to jail, have a record, like become a criminal. And that's what's scary. Like that's what scares my generation is, there's more. Like the other day, my son and my niece graduated from high school and it's Be Real. what's Be Real? Oh, we all got to take a picture at this exact moment. I'm like, there's another one. Like,
Yeah.
what do you, who sees it? Well, everybody in the whole world sees the picture. No, well, our friends, but you can send it to everybody. Like,
Yeah.
man, then you see everybody's. What if it's something you shouldn't see? Like,
Yeah. So Be Real takes like a picture of the front and the back camera at the same time. So you're like, it's where you're at right now.
It's the world. It's it's real.
Being real. And to me, right, I'm getting a little older. Like to me, it's like and another one, like another app to follow. I would say, and again, like I say, do your research. So I haven't downloaded Be Real. I can't fully go into all of that, but I do think if there's a benefit, which we'll talk about a little bit about highlight reels, everyday mundane, and some of the things. The one thing I would say about Be Real that's nice is, you can't really post a highlight reel if you're in math.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can just wait to post. You can just wait till it's a glamorous
my life
moment.
Would be really interesting in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait. So then you have apps like Discord.
Yeah, I don't understand Discord. I've actually heard other people in podcasts, hey, join my Discord. What is that?
Yeah, so Discord is basically, it's networking, but it's large community groups with different specific topic groups. It's very similar to Reddit.
Okay.
Which Reddit is it's technically a social media. You create an account and then you can go follow different threads, I want to learn about, how to gut a deer.
Right.
And so you can go follow that. And you connect and you talk and everything.
Just people talk. Like today, we could do a Reddit on social media dangers.
Yeah.
And this conversation would be typed out.
Exactly.
And then someone could add to it.
But the problem is a lot like Wikipedia.
Right.
Anybody can add anything.
Gotcha.
I can go say, my doctor told me this was the best way to, regain hair loss. And,
gotcha.
There's no one's citing a source.
Gotcha.
So then you have Twitch, which is gaming. That one's pretty popular. It's a gaming, streaming, social networking. Be Real we talked about, and then you actually mentioned it with the Bible app.
Yeah,
where that's something that I'm sure internally, they're going to figure out. It's the largest church in America. They're going to figure out. But yeah, you mentioned somebody sending nudes, basically putting a Bible verse over the picture of them and sending it, which how God has not.
There's a why is the lightning
like grace and mercy down? Is saving them.
Yeah,
but
that was thank God that I'm not God.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's terrible.
A lot of stuff from Song of Solomon.
Yeah,
getting
some brimstone,
getting
some
sent around. But yeah, so I think to that point, okay, so really long answer of when do you make okay? So you got to talk about it.
Right.
You have to sit down. You got to set some. So let's say we're going to do Instagram, right? If that's a platform that I have, I know how to navigate.
Right.
Like I think that's important. Not getting into social media with your kids that you don't know how to navigate.
Right.
Because that means you don't know all the ins and outs and what can be done and can't be done, and it takes research.
Right.
So, let's say JJ, he's getting older. My oldest, he's going to get an Instagram. So we're going to talk about accounts to follow. We're going to talk about the different uses for it, what's allowed, what's not allowed. And it's the same thing like with my daughters. Like somebody can send you anything.
Right.
You can't unsee that, right? And even with reels, like, you'll be watching a reel and your whole reel will all be clean stuff. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere is a reel that's cussing or inappropriate in whatever form. You can't undo that.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's naive to think that your kids are never going to. So we have a Google, I forget what you call it, but it's like a display. You can, hey, Google, do this. I apologize for anybody that has a machine that has Google watching this and it just did something, but I said, play some music. It's just random. Like I didn't say play a certain kind. And this song popped up and all my kids, the two oldest said, turn that song off. That's a bad song. How do you know that's a bad song? What have you been like?
Yeah.
I would be dumb to think that they haven't heard every popular song on the radio.
Yeah.
From however they do it, whether, they're not even listening to the radio. I don't even know where kids let Spotify, I guess.
Yeah.
So like, how do you prepare them for, you're going to see something inappropriate. One, I don't want you to feel guilty.
Yeah.
How do you because it's going to happen. Something is online. You're going to see something online that isn't inappropriate. That wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
How do you prepare them for that? Like that information? Like, what do you do? And then I have a story after you tell me.
Yeah. So I think first of all, like, you have to understand what your kids can carry.
Right.
So I'm going to give an analogy and then I'll break it down. So, right. So if I'm just starting to work out, right? 25-pound dumbbell, I can do that all day. I was going to say 70, but if you're watching online, you can probably tell that's not accurate. Right. But I can curl 25-pound dumbbell, right? That's no problem. I can do that. If I was to ask my 10-year-old to do that, right, he's going to struggle.
Right.
He may be able to do it, but he's going to struggle. Right? If I was to ask my 7-year-old, she couldn't do it. There's no way. And so you have to know as a parent, like this is where you have to be involved and know your kid because you know what weights they can carry.
Right.
Right.
That's excellent.
So if I know that my son is going to potentially be exposed to, you know, some like, I'm not just like out here, just like hating on women. Right. But like if he's going to be exposed to something that could stir up lust in him. Right. Or songs that are going to have, you know, what's the old lewd music or you know, whatever, you know what I talk about, right? I have to understand, or I have to know he can carry that weight through conversation and through support and through help. But if he isn't ready for that, like if that's just not a weight he can carry, then I can't go into it with him. Yeah. So like,
so you don't have Instagram.
Exactly. Like it's just not something that we're ready to handle, right? So like another example, you know, with all this stuff that's happening in the world with, you know, Target, like we'll use Target for example,
right.
You know, well, my kids heard, hey, this is going on. Why is everybody mad at Target?
Right.
Like they don't know details, but they just know everybody hates Target.
Right.
And so we, like, as parents, explained as much as we could for what they can carry.
Right.
Right. They're 7, 9, and 10.
Right.
They don't need to know the 9-year-olds are twins in case where's the fourth kid. Right. They aren't ready for all the details. Yeah. They will be at some point, but not yet.
And we do that with other stuff. Like I'm a fireman, and when the kids were little, how was your night? It was all right. You know, we just had a house on fire. We put it out. Well, we might have had a house on fire. We pulled 2 kids out that they're the same age, or their skin fell off when they don't need that information. Whereas my son gets older, I've told more details because I feel like he needs to be prepared for a world that's not all, you know, happy and butterflies. And like, there's some things out there, be aware that makes sense. And I like that. I think that has to go into the decision-making factor of when we give. That's why our daughter doesn't have it yet.
Yeah.
She'll be ready, but I don't think she is.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Because you're going to have the conversation if you receive an inappropriate message in any way, shape, and form. If you see something you shouldn't see, you are going to have the conversation of what to do with that.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
it's inevitable.
And you have to do it before.
Right.
You can't wait till it's done, because then what happens is instead of an escape plan, you're on a rescue and recovery.
Right.
Like instead of here's your way out, well, now you're trapped, and now you got to go get them out.
Right. And which could be worse because the actions they take might be worse.
Exactly.
So do you want to hear the first internet exposure to inappropriate things I ever experienced?
For the podcast's sake, yes.
So we got the internet. We had AOL dial-up. Like you had to buy minutes, and we had a computer. We had the one computer, and you had to couldn't make phone calls. So it was the beginning. Pictures took time. Like, you know, you'd get them in sections. So I was probably 14, which would make my sister Ashley 12 and the twins 10. And my dad said, we need to have a family meeting. Okay. And we had the internet for maybe 6 months. Family meeting, sit down. He's like, well, you know how the computer's not working? Because we had a virus. That's the thing that happened. He had explained what a virus was. Something got on our computer and made it not working. So I had a friend come over, and they figured out the virus. But when they did, they saw some inappropriate pictures, some naked pictures of women. He didn't say that, but that's what it was. And so obviously he's being diplomatic. My dad's a very patient, wise person. So he's doing the family meeting, but I'm the 14-year-old boy and there's a 12-year-old girl. And honestly, I had zero idea how to use the internet. Like we could get into a chat room, and I had an email account that nobody sent anything to, because they didn't even really have web pages. I had no idea what he's talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, something. And so he's like, yeah, they were inappropriate pictures. We found them. do you guys know anything about it? All of a sudden, my sister Ashley starts crying. I'm sorry. I thought I downloaded something and all these pictures popped up and I couldn't get them to go away. So she had, I don't know.
Of course, it was your sister.
Yeah, she got the first computer virus ever invented, and
Amazing.
It just popped up inappropriate pictures. And so looking back, I'm sure my dad was just shocked. Like, what?
Yeah.
And it was literally what's happening now. Something popped up. She clicked on a link that took her to somewhere, put this virus on a computer and showed naked pictures of women.
Free NSYNC music.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Download this from LimeWire.
Dude, LimeWire.
The good old days. But yeah, it happened. So I think so. So that's one step, which I haven't done. Like I haven't done that with my kids so that's one thing I'm going to do. Levi and Matilda, Lucia will be a while. When you do, what is the right thing? Do you think they should tell you every time, hey, I saw something inappropriate, or what is that step? Like, what do you think that, and maybe I understand it's individual. Give me some guidance.
Yeah. So I think, okay. So like, let's say like Reels. Right. Okay. So Reels, if you walk with your kids and teach them how to use the app, they can adjust their algorithm. Right. So if you go click like the three little, like let's say you're using Instagram, for example, on a Reels, you see a reel you don't like, has something inappropriate, has cussing, has whatever, whatever the content is that you don't want to see or don't want your kids to see. You can click the three dots, show less, right? And it'll start learning.
Gotcha.
Okay, this isn't what they want to see. I think for things like that, I don't know if that needs to come to me as a parent. Right. If I'm trusting my kid with this, right? So one of the things I try to do as a parent is like, so right now my kids are all in a stage where I still get to say no, and I'm telling them why, right? So like when they were 0 to 5, like I'm telling you no and you listen. Like that's, you need to learn what no means, right? Now I'm explaining, like I'm in a stage where I'm explaining why it's no.
Gotcha.
Or I'm explaining why it's yes.
Right.
And we're kind of getting ready to enter this phase, and I think this is kind of teenage years where you enter, is you're a coach.
Right.
So now you ultimately still get the decision of if you're in the game or not, right? You still get to say no, you still get to ground, right? But you got to let them start making some of their own decisions.
Yes.
Right? You can't micromanage forever. Right. So stuff like that to me is making your own decision, right? For a basketball analogy, right? You're deciding what pass to make.
Right.
I can't tell you every single pass, and I don't need to know that you just made the pass, right? Like I trust what you're doing. I think though, where you get to stuff where messages are coming to you, like for me, that's the big red flag.
Right. Someone's coming after you.
Yeah. Accounts following you that you don't know, and messages coming to you, like those are big red flags. A new app that you want to use. Right. Big red flag.
Let me stop it. How do you control that? I think I know the answer, but
so how do you control, like if they want to use a different app? Yeah. So you actually, as a parent, can set parental controls where they can't download an app without your password.
Gotcha.
Like, so this is actually kind of a little funny story here. We were up at camp a couple years ago, which depending on when this was released, sign up for camp. If it's after camp, sign up for camp 2024. But we were up there and we needed an additional iPad to run the lighting computer. Right. Everything was all on an iPad, and one of the students had one that they weren't using. It was a musician, and so we're download this app. Like we need it's just lighting
right now,
like American DJ, lighting, whatever. And we go to download it, and it like gives up a prompt, and it's like it like sends an email to the parent, and it's like, you can't download this app without this password. And then I'm like, what's this? And he was like, yeah, I'm not allowed to download apps without my parents allowing me to. And I was like, why did you give us this information like at the front? But yeah, so you can do that. And then you have the conversation. And I think that is the biggest piece of advice that everything in this stems from is have an open line of communication. Yeah. If you're going to you have to. And I think you talk with your kid and you set those parameters together. Those would just be mine. Yeah. From what I know.
One thing that we've done, and it's been successful so far, I think, again, you don't know. I have on my phone, I can access my son's Instagram account. So it's actually a little annoying because I get his messages.
Notifications.
I'm like, what is it? Oh, you liked whatever. But I can see it. I can see his conversations, and he knows this. And then my wife gets his text messages on her computer.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. My kids do not message on the messaging app on their phone. The native iMessage, they don't use it. They message inside of apps.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of them use different apps to message now.
Yes.
I text somebody the other day and they didn't respond. And why didn't you respond? They showed me their phone. It just said like 999 plus text messages. They're like, I don't use messages.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Can you explain? Like, no, they're like, everything's through apps.
Right.
And so one thing you just said, I think is huge for parents. So in my opinion, right, as the parent, especially of a preteen, you get full access.
Yeah.
Like there's no question. You get full access to social media.
Yeah. When I say, give me your phone, you say, okay, Dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it's not a question. Actually, fun fact, if, just for me, I have 3 daughters. There's going to be a man one day who asks to marry them. Right. I always tell them, they're like, what do you mean a man? I was like, boy, I ain't asking for your hand in marriage. Like it better be a man. Like it's not going to be some boy. I'm going to ask for a couple things. I'm going to ask about their relationship with God and that they're going to make sure my daughter makes it to heaven because that's their role. And I'm going to ask to see their phone and go through all their social media accounts. Because if they're hiding something from me,
right,
then they're probably going to hide something from my daughter one day.
Wow.
And if they say no,
that's better than cleaning your gun when they come to ask.
Can I go through it? Can I look at the content? And this is one, can I look at what your suggested reels are?
Right. Because that's going to say,
because you can delete messages.
Right.
But if you've been looking at a bunch of stuff you shouldn't look at, your algorithm's going to show that.
Yes.
Right. And so you can't undo that quickly. We're one of the youth staff. They had TikTok and they were like, I don't know how, but I ended up in TikTok jail. Like my TikTok was nothing but jail videos. And so then we kind of started like, what were you watching?
Right.
Yeah, and like it would just be people like doing push-ups in jail. Like it wasn't anything inappropriate, but just, it was only people in jail.
I forget what the topic, I was doing a project and I was obviously Googling and looking at, I'm like, I don't want to, if I see another video of someone putting a toilet in, like, what do I have to search to stop seeing toilet installation videos?
I did one install and now it thinks I love
I'm a plumber. Yeah,
right. But no, I think this is my thought process on having open access. Right. And I think it does. I think it slowly changes as they get older.
Yeah. Like Levi doesn't need permission to get apps anymore.
Yeah.
One, it was just annoying. Hey, can I download the grow your hair chop? Yes.
Did Levi, maybe I shouldn't say Levi because I want to expose him if he did. Did any of your kids ever get into the poop app?
I'm sure they probably did.
It was a thing where it was a social media app where you would put every time you pooped when and where.
Oh no.
And it would follow. So it'd be like
a 5-star review. I'd definitely poop here again.
Yeah, like you just pooped at their house. Like me too. Like the weirdest thing. I was like, this is where I draw the line, guys. Like I might be done. I don't think I can do this.
That's a little strange.
But no, with monitoring, it does change, right? Like you got an 18-year-old, they're an adult. Right. And you still have the right to, you're still their parent if you're still paying the phone bill. Yeah. But I think at that point you might kind of be missing it.
Yeah.
But what I would compare it to is putting oil in your car, doing an oil change, right? It's inconvenient.
Right.
Sometimes it's frustrating. It costs you a little bit, but I would much rather get an oil change in my car than have the engine blow up.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the deal. You know what? Your kids may not love that you have open access to it.
Right.
They may not enjoy that. But you know what? I'm a parent first.
Yes.
Like I would love to be your friend.
Right.
When you move out of my house, I would love to be a friend and just guide you.
Yeah.
But up until that point, I'm a parent first. Yeah. And I ultimately get to decide.
Do you, as we're getting close to wrapping up, are there any like monitoring tools that you've, I've heard, when TV was a thing, when people actually watched TV, there was things that were basically filter out. Do you have any tools that we can download, apps that can like overall monitor? Do you have any of that? So
this one's just for like Safari or whatever web browser you're using, but Covenant Eyes.
Okay. Covenant
Eyes is actually something a lot of pastors use, where You put it on your device, and it will send at the end of the. So if anything is bad, it flags it.
Right.
And it will immediately send an email to whoever you set up. So most married people who do it would do their spouse and like their pastor. Right. If you wanted to use it for your kids, I mean, you could do. I was going to say your youth pastor, but I don't know if I want to get involved. No, just kidding. But no, you would do it with your, where it goes to your email. Anything be flagged, and so you can also set screen time limits.
Right.
But one thing I would really recommend, and this is hard because right now it's on us too, even more than just being aware. Like, I got to put my phone down.
Yeah.
Because if I put my phone down and I start interacting, okay, now we have to.
Yep.
Right. There's a lot of times where, it'll be like, I'm going for a walk and I have to take my phone with me. Well, why? Like, I'm going to be gone for 30 minutes. What in the world could be so important that if I don't respond in 30 minutes, and so if I put my phone down, we're leaving our phones, we go for a walk. Now I get to talk to them.
Yeah.
Now I get to engage with them. Now I get to connect with them. I can start talking about their goals. I can start talking about their dreams. I can start talking about what they want. Like, that's where you can start having those deep conversations.
Yeah. I think, it's easy for my generation to say, oh, this generation's their heads are stuck in their phone. I'm telling you what, man, there's a reason.
It's easy.
You can get sucked in so easy. I can see it even my parents, my aunts, they're on social media all the time. And I think that's really important, just to kind of, you have to demonstrate what you want. Last question, we've talked about like the negatives. We've talked about, some of the ways we can avoid them. What are the positives? What can our kids, why do they need social media? Like, how can that make them a better person? Like, is it possible, or is it all just entertaining, low value? What are your thoughts?
So I think, there's a reason it has grown to what it has, right? Like, I do think there are some incredible benefits. So, and some of it, we may have a little bit less attention span, but I don't think we're going to change a generation by me not having social media for my, you know what I mean?
Right.
So with that being said, I can remember growing up, right? You have to memorize all your friends' phone numbers. You got to figure out, are they home? You're calling them, right? And so I do think that communication and relationship piece can be a lot easier.
Gotcha.
Now, with that being said, you don't want to be that guy that is sitting at home talking to his 800 Facebook friends and has no friends in real life, right? But I think there's a lot that can be learned through that, and through that communication, like you said, all your friends are on it. Like, whether you like it or not, it is the reality of the world that we're in. And I don't think we're going back.
Right. No, it's not going away unless like an EMP hits and all electricity goes away.
Yeah. I think you have to teach them how to use it, where the value, and honestly, like, I enjoy knowing what's going on with my friends. Like, not in a way of comparison, but like, you went to Florida. I loved seeing the video of everything you all did. And, your sister posted a video of her daughter's first roller coaster ride. Like, that brought joy. Like, that was very nice. And, so I think that those things are very good. Kind of like coming back in teaching, though, you have to remind people, like, people aren't necessarily posting their everyday.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I don't. I'm a youth pastor. I have not had a bad day of youth ministry in like 5 years. Like, everything has been
all these
great.
Happy kids, no parents are complaining.
The youth service where, we got like 32 kids because it's spring break and everybody's on vacations, that does not get posted.
Right.
Like, that's the close-up where you got somebody worship. That's the close-up that gets posted.
There was one kid here tonight.
Yeah, and he was worshiping.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, I think there's a lot of just the connection side, I think, is great.
Yeah.
And it can bring some joy, but you gotta be careful.
Yeah, it's like, to me, social media is like dessert.
Yeah.
I love dessert.
Yeah.
Shouldn't eat it every day.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't eat it all day. Shouldn't be every meal.
Yeah.
Should be for special occasions. And I think it's good. So I want to summarize. I want to take action. That's good information. I need to explore the apps my kids use. If I don't have at least a cursory knowledge of how to use the apps, I shouldn't let them use it.
Correct.
I should have parental controls set. I should have a conversation about seeing, or when they see things that are inappropriate and it's going to happen, how either they should or I'd like them to. I need to protect them from, the big ones are someone's messaging you that you don't know. That's when I should get involved. What am I missing?
So you got it all. The only thing I would throw in at the very end is, as parents, we need to do a really good job of putting our phones down as well. I was talking to one parent and they said, it's no phones at dinner.
Yep.
The phone doesn't even come to the dinner table. I think things like that are huge. Putting our phones down and connecting with them and getting to the point where, it's like you said, it's dessert. It's not a need anymore.
Right.
It's a nice treat when I got it. On average, teenagers spend 90 minutes a day on social media. On average. Now, screen time all in all is like 8 hours. Right. But that's specifically social media. And for some, I'm sure it's greater.
Oh, yeah. That's the average.
Yeah. So
that's good info. All right, Jordan, thank you. Anywhere people can get a hold of you, like, hey, I want some more information. Is there a good way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Social media, you should hit him up.
Yeah, Jordan A. Hopper on Instagram, or you can email me, jordan@acauburnhills.com. Quick to respond to emails, and would love to help out, man. That's what we do here.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys are helpful is the word I would use to describe the staff here at the church. So thank you for watching this. I've got 2 requests. 1, if you liked it, share it with somebody, and 2, put it into action. The information is only information unless you take action. So please go out there, take some action, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.
Hello and welcome.
I knew it.
That's
good.
Show that you really ought to know. Why? Let me tell you about a show that you really ought to know.